In a world where kings ruled with power and armies clashed over territory, there was once a box, but not just any box. It was called the Ark of the Covenant, a golden chest built by ancient Israelites and said to hold the very presence of God. It led armies, it split rivers, it struck down enemies, and then it disappeared. What happened to it and where it was taken is unknown to date. This is the story and the mystery of the Ark of the Covenant. The Ark of the Covenant was a sacred chest built about 3,000 years ago, during the time of Moses, the man who led the Israelites out of slavery in Egypt. God gave Moses very specific instructions for the ark. It had to be made of acacia wood, overlaid with pure gold, inside and out. It had a gold lid called the mercy seat, with two golden angels, cherubim, facing each other. Inside the ark were three things: the stone tablets of the Ten Commandments, Aaron's rod, a staff that miraculously budded, and a jar of manna, the bread God provided in the wilderness. But more than just a container, it was considered God's throne on earth. The ark wasn't just a religious object, it was powerful. When the Israelites crossed the Jordan River into the Promised Land, the ark went first, and the waters stopped flowing. At the famous Battle of Jericho, the ark was carried around the city walls for 7 days. On the seventh day, the people shouted, and the walls came crashing down. The ark represented God's presence and promise to be with his people if they obeyed him. Once, a man named Uzzah touched the ark to steady it and lost his life instantly. Even being near it without permission was dangerous. This wasn't a treasure to be owned. It was holy. However, the Israelites didn't always treat the ark with reverence. Centuries later, during the time of a priest named Eli, the people were at war with the Philistines. They thought that if they took the ark into battle, they would win, but they didn't ask God. They lost the battle instead. Thousands lost their lives, and the Philistines captured the ark. It was a tragedy. When Eli heard the news, he fell backward in shock to his demise. The story didn't end there. The Philistines took the ark to their city and placed it in the temple of their god, Dagon. The next morning, Dagon's statue had fallen face down before the ark. The Philistines set their statue back up. However, it fell again the next day. This time the statue was broken with only the trunk left standing. Then came disease, tumors, panic. They moved the ark from city to city, but everywhere it went, disaster followed. After 7 months of suffering, the Philistines could no longer endure the suffering brought on by their theft of the ark. They put the ark on a cart, tied it to 2 cows, and let it go. The cows walked straight back to Israel. Years passed, and the first king of Israel was crowned, Saul, then a second, David. During this time, some 20 years, the ark remained in the house of Abinadab in Kiriath Jearim. His son Eleazar was consecrated to take charge of the ark of the Lord. David wanted the ark in Jerusalem, the new capital, and organized a huge parade with musicians, dancing, and celebration in an attempt to bring the ark back. But again, they didn't follow God's instructions. The Ark of the Covenant was to be carried by Jewish priests with 2 wooden poles. No one was to touch or look upon it inappropriately. However, the ark was placed on a cart where Uzzah reached out in an attempt to steady it and met his untimely end. Though angry and afraid that God struck down Uzzah, David guided the Israelites back to God's instructions on the ark. This would change everything. The ark finally arrived in Jerusalem, and the people rejoiced. The ark stayed in Jerusalem and was eventually placed in Solomon's temple, a grand building covered in gold. The safekeeping of the ark would not last. In 586 BCE, the Babylonians invaded and destroyed Jerusalem, burning the temple where the ark was placed to the ground. Records documenting items taken during the invasion did not include the ark. Some believe the ark was hidden before the invasion, taken, or even destroyed. Still others believe it was smuggled out of Jerusalem, where a church claims to have it to this day, while some say it's waiting to be revealed at the right time. The Ark of the Covenant was more than gold or history. It was a reminder and a symbol of a God who wasn't distant, but chose to live among his people. It showed that with God's presence comes power, holiness, and responsibility. The Ark didn't give victory or judgment or blessing. God did, and he still wants to live close to his people, not in a golden box, but in our hearts. You will seek me and find me when you seek me with all your heart. Jeremiah chapter 29, verse 13.